So one, I'm playing that music. I thought it'd be fun. First, if you guys hear on Instagram that one song that comes on a lot, it says play my theme music, and the guy walks in with a little bit of a funk. I don't know if you guys have heard any of that, but that's what I thought about starting off with, but I couldn't find it. One, this is to help with my nerves. This is a big kind of first time presentation for this, right? Instead of saying being vulnerable, that I'm making myself available, that I'm putting myself out here, out on a limb to see, number one, hey, I'm gonna do this talk on Soul Force. In my mind, is anybody gonna show up? You know? I told Kurt and Jess about it, and I kind of just let them know. I was like, I know I can kind of let them down if I didn't do it, because that's the first thing is saying it, putting it out there, can I do this? And so I kind of him and hawed for a couple weeks. And then I wrote down in my journal, I've been working on my journaling, and in my journaling on September 4th, actually, I wrote down one of my goals is to be a dynamic speaker and a sought after speaker. Then I didn't journal for a few days. And then I made the commitment on Instagram, hey, I'm doing this talk, I'm gonna, 10:45, September 30th on Soul Force, come and go. And then that's when I went home on that day and wrote, and that was the 20th, I think, how much time had left. One, before I journaled, but two, saying it, writing down, I'm gonna be a dynamic speaker, and then moving forward in that action and actually committing to it. And that's the audience effect, right? When you say something out loud and you have people there in front of you, now it's kind of a little bit of a commitment. I did the same thing when I ran 50 miles. I wasn't a runner, I didn't consider myself a runner. But watched this video, got excited, the motivation, right? You see these people doing it, and you sit there and you ask yourself, they're doing it, I can do it. Many people here at this gym at CoreFit, out there doing ultra marathons, out there doing trifectas. And I'm looking at myself like, I'm in better shape than those individuals, but I can't go do what they're doing, so maybe I'm not in better shape, right? There's that self-doubt that starts coming in. Why am I not doing it? Because I don't want to be uncomfortable. That training is uncomfortable to go run 30 miles. That means showing up day after day after day with that consistency. And so therefore, when I'm going to get into this and talk about this, I was setting limits on what I'm capable of. And I think we all do this at times, that we set limits on ourselves, and therefore we hold ourselves back, and therefore we get on our own heads, and we start messing around in our heads thinking that we're not good enough. And that's what we're going to be talking about. My goal today is to talk about Soul Force, and what we're going to be talking about is the fundamentals, and then mindset, on how mindset is related to focus. And our fundamentals is energy. You're going to see how the fundamentals are going to relate to energy, and then we're going to talk about the mindset, and how mindset is related to focus. And then we're going to come down to the win, and you're going to understand what win is, and that's some of the objectives. Again, when you guys leave here, I'm going to ask you guys some of these questions, and hopefully some of you guys will be able to answer these. And then the last one is consistency. And I want you to look at consistency is going to equal devotion. So we're going to look at changing some words. A lot of you guys that I've talked to and hear me in my talks on Next Level Thursday in our Compass class, it's all about really the power of the words and how you say things. It's what your brain is interpreting. Your brain doesn't know the difference if you're joking or if you're real, but when you say it, your brain is processing that. It's computing it. And so that's why I talk about self-talk not being negative, because our brain does not know the difference. I'll use the example of dogs. If you have an aggressive dog or dogs that are very protective of your fam, I'm going to say my dog Tango. If I start horse playing around with Robert here, my father-in-law, and we're wrestling around on the dirt, my dog doesn't know, oh, they're horse playing, I'm gonna let him play, right? He's like, oh my God, my owner's in danger, I'm gonna go protect him, and then he's gonna go after Robert, because the dog doesn't know the difference. He's doing what he's naturally capable of doing, and that's his natural reaction. And so is our brain. That's what our brain's there for. Again, when we think about the earlier times for protection, going out at night, being aware of our surroundings, it was all about safety. We don't have to worry about safety too much any longer. We live in these very, very protected, well-lit environments. So that's where we're gonna go. So number one, let's go into fundamentals. And so in those fundamentals I'm gonna talk about, does anybody think that we know what our core fundamentals are? Any ideas, anybody in here? What could be a core fundamental of your life? Chethra? Relationships, awesome, 100%, right? That communication, that inner connection with people. We're gonna talk about eating, moving, sleeping, and sleeping's gonna be that number one foundation. That's what all of these things sit upon, sleeping. If we don't have good sleep, what are we gonna miss? We're gonna miss our energy. Where do we get our energy? We get our energy from that recovery time, right? Just like our phones. Our phones only have so much energy in them, and when we deplete that energy, the phone doesn't work any longer. And it's a lot like a lot of things in life. Okay? And so this is when we talk about sleep. If we're getting less than 7 hours of sleep, and this isn't my number, this is study and research that has been backing this, is that when we are not getting 7 hours or more of sleep, we're not working in our most optimal environment. We are not functioning at the highest capability. So therefore, if we're not finding the value in sleep yet, we can sit here and be okay that, hey, I'm functioning at half charge here. You know, when we come up against obstacles in our day, what might that look like? And if we're not at our full capability of handling that obstacle, we might not show up as our best, just like a Spartan race. If we go out doing a Spartan, or a marathon, or climbing a mountain, if we don't do the training and do the work and do the recovery process to keep our bodies strong, we're not going to be able to do that obstacle or conquer that obstacle that we're running into on that day. And so that's where sleeping, we're really working on our sleeping. Then we're going to eating, our nutrition. If we're not sleeping well, how are we going to make good choices around what we're eating? We're getting up late. I'm going to grab something on the way. And where do we stop? At the convenience store. And what's at the convenience store? Is there healthy foods at the convenience store? More than likely not. If there is a very small percentage. What's about convenience store? Convenience. Getting in, grabbing something, getting out. And they talk about don't fuel your body where you fuel your car. So think about that when you're going and stopping at a convenience store. That you're there to fuel your car, it's not there the best place to probably fuel your body. And then if we go around that after eating, moving. Again, if we're not getting good sleep, we're not gonna have the energy, we're not eating correctly, what makes you think I'm gonna go and wanna do a nice, good workout? And that's what we'll find a lot of times at the end of our day or somewhere in our day, like, I just don't feel like, I just don't have the energy to go work out today. You know what, I'm gonna give myself a day of rest. I deserve it. And it could be, man, this is my 3rd day of rest this week. Or maybe I got busy with something else. Or again, what gets in the way? Work. We put other priorities in front of this thing that gives us energy to go out and do things. And so that's where the moving comes in. Sleeping, getting that 7 or more, 8 plus hours of sleep, going into those fundamentals. Again, think about eating, moving, and then sleeping, about how those two relate to those things. And then we can talk about our mindset when we're coming into our focus. And this is where we're going to be dropping into mindset here in a moment around focus. But breathing and meditation, this is what allows our minds to be quiet. This allows our mind to focus and taking that one deep breath. And it's simple. Sometimes, I've tried meditation, it doesn't work for me. Why? I just can't stay centered. Exactly. If we can't stay centered when we're meditating, then how do we evolve when we're in life? When something actually comes to us and hits us, where do we need to be? We need to stop and take a breath for a moment so I can get centered, so I can clear my mind from running around in all these different places, and take a moment just to stop, take a deep breath, and clear my mind. And there's a tool that Navy SEALs use, and the Navy SEALs, right, they're in a tough situation. They might be in this battle right now in war, and they have to adapt to the situation. And maybe they're just hiking through the mountains, all of a sudden they're under fire. Their brains need to start activating, start working, and finding out where's this fire coming from. And if they're anxious and they're not thinking about this, and they're just hyperventilating, they're not going to be able to function very well. So there's a tool that they use around this is box breathing. So if you guys are thinking about any of these notes and you want to try box breathing, it's 5 seconds in. You're going to inhale for 5 seconds, and as you're inhaling, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to hold for 5 seconds. Count 1, 2, 3, right? You guys know the numbers. And then you're going to exhale for 5, and then you're going to hold for 5. And that 5, 5, 5, that's 20 seconds. Repeat that 2 more times. 20 seconds, 20 seconds, 20 seconds is 1 minute. You just meditated or you just worked on your breathing for 1 minute. And as you're counting, your brain cannot count and be thinking about what's going around in your mind as that squirrel's running around. That squirrel's actually going to stop. And, we're counting. Okay, let me count, right? So let's just do this. We're going to take 1 minute. We're going to do this box breathing also, just to kind of help with my nerves here a little bit. I'm rambling here, so I'm getting off key. And again, I practice this at home. I think, this is going to be fine. I got this. But then when you get in front of people, like, where am I going? Am I making sense? Did I just miss something, right? And so that's where I'm going to take this moment to stop and focus. And this is a good opportunity to demonstrate, to take a nice breath, to calm ourselves down. I want you to kind of get a feeling where you're at. You're probably not feeling the anxiety that I'm feeling right now, but turn that anxiety into excitement. Being up here. Why do I have anxiety? Why might I be nervous? I want to do a good job. You guys have given me the gift of time to take time out of your day to come and listen to something that I'm saying. So thank you. I honor that. I appreciate that. And at the same time, the goal, that's why I got these objectives that you're gonna be walking away with something in your hand to use. So let's go into that deep breathing real quick, all right? Let's just sit here, everybody sit up straight, get your feet grounded, nice and tall. And this is optional. You don't have to if you don't want to, everything's optional. But right now, we're gonna take a deep breath in. We're all gonna do this on our own. You're all gonna do your own counting. I'm not gonna count for you. You're gonna count for yourself in your mind. We're gonna count into 5. On my count of 3, we will start. So go ahead, clear your breath, clear your mind, and on 3, 1, 2, 3. Round. Go ahead and come back to when you're ready. All right, is everybody less nervous than I am? Right? Because I'm getting warm up here. I'm not even going to take the shirt off. So, what did you guys notice anything different from your first breath to the last breath? And staying calm and then counting. If your mind was wandering, right, it doesn't wander because it's focused on that task. It's focusing on counting. And so that's where it helps in that sense to where when you're feeling anxious, you're feeling overwhelmed with something, the power of the breath. Our body is a super machine, you guys. Our body is built for everything that comes across our plate to give us the ability to handle it. Unfortunately, we don't always work on those things. And this is where you all have superhuman powers. Our body is superhuman capable. Those superheroes that we see in the Marvel comics and DC, we all have this inside of us. And the reason it's difficult, because we have to harness this. It takes practice. If it was easy, we'd be the superhuman being and life would be whatever it would be. But the challenge is to harness it, to harness that superpower, and then bring it in when you need it. With that breath and meditation that we just did, that 5-5-5, that box breathing, that brings in your focus. That allows you to take a moment, stop, and then get dialed into what you're dialed in. And that's what, again, the Navy SEALs do. When they're in battle, they need to focus on their task. They take that little box breathing, and then they can zero in on that task. It allows that anxiety just to come down. And the last thing in our fundamentals is talk about prospering. And when I say prosper, I'm not talking about the dollar. I'm talking about our future. Knowing that wherever you're at right now, that our future, that future version of you is going to be in a better place than where we are today. And how do we get there? We get there by our goals. We get there by our habits. If you want to look at your future and know where you're at, what your future is going to look like, look at your habits right now. If you're doing something that you know is not building towards that best version of yourself, and we stay in that channel, that's where we're going to be in the future. We can't expect it to be any better until we start doing work around that one item. And what do we have to do? We have to identify it. We got to name it to tame it. We got to recognize that that's our kryptonite, sometimes to not making us feel our best, right? Superman has superhuman powers, but he can be grounded by kryptonite. And the thing is, what kryptonite does is that we don't have this big rock of kryptonite sitting in front of us because we're not just getting weak all of a sudden. It's kryptonite dust. We're sprinkling that dust all around the places. And that kryptonite dust, don't worry.
You're pretty right.
Yeah, it's nice, right? Kryptonite, right? So that kryptonite dust that's being sprinkled over us a little bit each day is just what's kind of wearing us down. That's sometimes where we thought, man, I didn't have a good day today. Or I'm just like, man, today sucks, I'm struggling. It's that kryptonite dust. And that kind of leads into where we're going into our mindset and our focus to be able to focus and narrow down on all these things. And so when we think about going to the gym, which we're at right now, why do we go to the gym? We go to the gym to make our bodies stronger. So in the same sense, we got to take that time and take a moment in our own life and make this again, find that value in it to going to the mind gym. And going to the mind gym is taking that time for yourself to make your mind stronger. And that's what this gym does.
When you go through a challenge, you come into the gym and you work and you push hard towards this Terrific Tuesday, and you know Terrific Tuesday, which again used to be called Terrible Tuesday. But if you guys recognize, when I start getting into more of my self-mastery coaching, my mental performance, we start changing this to Terrific Tuesday. There's no reason to put a negative context to something that you're walking into. Why walk into something negative? Where do you think your mind is? If you say, oh, I'm going to a Terrible Tuesday. Your mind doesn't know that, oh, it's just a label. Your mind's saying, oh, Terrible Tuesday, terrible. We don't like doing terrible things. Why would I go do a terrible thing? That doesn't make sense, right? But when we say, I'm going to Terrific Tuesday, oh, and if you told your friend that you want Susan, right, you're going to, hey, you want to go to the gym with me? It's Terrific Tuesday. Oh, Terrific Tuesday, that sounds awesome. What is that? Oh, we do the hardest workout possible. That doesn't sound terrific. That sounds terrible. Exactly, right? Because if you say, oh, let's go to Terrible Tuesday, your friends go, no, what do you mean terrible? I don't want to go anything that sounds terrible, right? And so that's the thing for us to think about. How do we label things? And this is where I talk about work. I share a lot as, oh, I have to go to work today. What do you mean you have to? You don't have to. You get to. You get to go to this job that maybe you don't like. And if you don't like it, why don't you like it? Oh, it's hard. Awesome. You're making it. Who's making it hard? You are, because of your mindset. And again, this is where our focus is. This is why it's so important around our mindset on how we label things. And those people that don't like their jobs, and we all have coworkers, oh, this job sucks. Guess what? If you got fired that afternoon or got laid off that afternoon, guess what they're going to be wanting back? That job they don't like, right? All of a sudden, oh my God, my job's been taken from me. They're going to want that job back. Nobody's going to be like, oh, thank God. I just got laid off and I hated that job. Now I don't have any money. Now I'm going to pay for it. But thank goodness, right? They just went from one hard thing to something that's much harder. Because now they don't know how they're going to pay for their bills. Now they got something else to worry about. Because that job that they don't like, they just got removed from. But really, in actuality, we need that job. So this is something that we get to do. Just like going to the gym. You don't have to go to the gym. You get to. This is something, the one thing that I can think of right now that you are willingly, individually, volunteering to do and paying for, to come in to be what? Pushed. To have an exercise that we might not be able to create our own, but come to a level that I know when I come here that I'm going to be challenged. Imagine if life, every day you woke up and think, oh, what's in store for me today, right? What am I going to face? And if we go in with that mentality, how's our day going to be? It's going to be crappy. That's where depression sets in. Depression is that sensibility where our future doesn't look any better than our present moment. And so that's the opportunity that we get to create our future by our daily habits, by where our mindset is, by where our focus is. And a part of that focus, where we need to get out of, is our own way. It's this thing, again, in our head, that little squirrel or monkey, whatever you want to label this little thing that's running around in your head, that's creating self-doubt, that's creating this negative verbiage in your mind, and that's where you're at. And so we got to help start switching that language, start switching the words, start switching the way we talk to ourselves. There was a study done in 1923. This guy, Hugo Gernsback, he said, perhaps one of the most difficult things a human being is called upon to do is to focus, or is forced to do, is long-term concentrated thinking. Long-term concentrated thinking. So he developed this device, and this was in 1924 or 1925 that he said this. So he created this device that he put over his head, this big wooden device, closed it up so it took out all external noises. It ran an oxygen tube to it, so that's how dense this thing, that he had to have oxygen. And then the eyes were focused to only this what was right here in front of you. And so what he was working on is staying focused, that long-term intentional focus. And what he found was, it's not so much all these outside distractions that get in our way. 50% of what got in the way was his own mind. Because we are meant to get pulled and get distracted. We are not 100% meant to be focused on this one thing for long periods of time, just like our workouts. We've got to do training to have this long-term attention span. Now think about, this was again 1925. Here we are in 2023, and we have a multitude of distractions. We have this little device in our pocket that we can't leave without it, which used to be Amex, right? American Express, don't leave home without it. Now we can't leave at home without our phone. We could be 20 minutes away from the house and, oh crap, I forgot my phone. I gotta turn around and go back. I'm gonna be late to work, I gotta get my phone. And your boss might, oh, okay, I get it. Because all your stuff's on your phone. We left in Montana one time. I left my wallet in Montana at this Airbnb. They can ship it to me, I won't need it. But if it was my phone, we gotta go back. Right? You can't live without your phone. And then when you're not on your phone, this is a great movie if you ever watch it, Social Dilemma. It's intentional. When you're not on your phone for a certain amount of times, all of a sudden, it vibrates. It's calling for your attention. And it's set up that way intentionally. When you say push notifications, that's why they want those push notifications. Because when you're not active on your phone for X amount of time, oh, he hasn't checked in a little bit. Let's send him something. Let's see if we can spike his attention. And this is what's great in the social dilemma. They're doing all these things. Okay, where did he spend his last moment? Oh, he was interested in a sushi. All right, let's send him a sushi ad. And boom, oh, there's a sushi ad. And maybe, oh, no, he didn't click on that. Didn't work. What else did he focus on? Right? And so they go through all these different things. And you'll notice on your phone, these different things that pop up on your phone. And that's that attention span. They're seeking your attention. And this is what Facebook did. Facebook, before back in the day, used to write comments. You post something and think, oh, that's cool, that's awesome that you did. Great, hey, good job. They didn't have the like button back then. This is when they created the like button. And when they created that like button, people's attention that spent time on Facebook went up 3 times. 3 times the amount of time that they were spending on Facebook went up because of the like button. So if you think about anything that you're on now, social media, what do you have? You have the heart. You have the like. They even put the unlike button on there now. They put all these different emojis. Why? There's a reason, because they want your attention. They want your focus to be on these things. And then you're getting distracted. This is where email comes in. These are another big talk on email, you guys. And this is where we can talk about later about deep work. And going into the focus, going into that mindset, I want to pull up a video real quick. So Jess is going to run this video. Hopefully this all works correctly. And I want you to focus on what they're going to be asking you. Is this the white t-shirt?
This is the monkey.
Yeah, I know what it is.
How do you undo that?
Oh, that's right.
It went to sleep.
All right, check this out. If you can do it, can we do it? Yeah, okay, good. All right. Some of you guys have seen this. If you have, don't give anything away. But if not, go ahead and focus your attention on the screen.
The monkey business illusion. Count how many times the players wearing white pass the ball. The correct answer is 16 passes.
Did you guys get 16?
15.
You saw 18. Okay, cool. You're counting, right? Okay, down. Go ahead.
Did you spot the gorilla?
Yes.
For people who haven't seen or heard about a video like this before, about half missed the gorilla. If you knew about the gorilla, you probably saw it. But did you notice the curtain changing color for the player on the black team leaving the game?
No.
Right?
Let's rewind and watch it again. Here comes the gorilla, and there goes a player, and the curtain is changing from red to gold.
I was concentrating on the white people.
When you're looking for a gorilla, you often miss other unexpected events.
Okay, so that's the power of attention. That's the power of focus. When you're focused on something, we don't get distracted about other things. And that part is on this, we're not supposed to see the gorilla. You're supposed to get that number of 16 to focus only on what you were asked to do, which was count the basketball, how many times they passed. And so that's where we can kind of see, are we easily distracted, not easily distracted, and we're built that way. It's easy to get distracted. When we are focused on something, we're doing work, a lot of times what do? We start working on something, all of a sudden email comes up, or we get that ping notification, or we get a phone call. We're looking for those distractions, or we get those unwanted distractions. So then we lose attention. And it talks about multitasking. We're not multitaskers, you guys. Oh, I'm a good multitasker. When you're working on one event and you go with a shift into another, your brain's still focusing on what you just did. It has to. It has to file and compute that somewhere. So then if you do come back to it, you don't always remember the 100% of everything you just did, but you remember bits and pieces of it. That's the recall. And so there's a tool around this when you work on mindset and focus, and this is in a book called Deep Work by Cal Newport, is that the studies have shown is 90 minutes is where we're able to do really functional deep work. Is doing 90 minutes of deep work with no distractions, shutting everything off, putting your phone away, turning off the emails, and then taking 20 minutes after that 9 minutes, 20 minutes to yourself. And that 20 minutes is not used to be on social media, get on your phone and go do something where we're just not thinking. But think about using that 20 minutes to go for a walk. Think about using that 20 minutes to go outside in nature, clear your mind, get the oxygen. And then after that 20 minutes, come back and get into your deep work. And you can set things up on your day. If you have 3 or 4 things that you want to work on, okay, 90 minutes here, and we got to put it on our calendar as well. We got to schedule it. We can't just think that we're going to get it done because things come up all the time. And so how can you navigate your day? And when you say yes to one thing, you say no to another. So be mindful of what you're saying yes to in your day. But if you take that, you label it. There's 3 important things that you want to get done. 90 minutes here, 20-minute break, 90 minutes here, 20-minute break, 90 minutes here, 20-minute break. And then decide what you want to take on after that. But look at your 3 tasks. We typically overestimate what we overestimate what we can get done in a day. And we underestimate what we can get done in that week. And that's the thing, because that's how we're geared, right? We're always, oh, did you write it down? Did you do these? But we really got to look at the big picture. What is our goal, and how do we set ourselves up for success during the week? Now, a couple of these things when we go into this, when we look at that mindset, and we just talked about that, again, that gorilla that just showed up. And then again, I didn't even notice the curtain. You know, I watched that video earlier. I didn't watch it all the way through because I already knew the gorilla. That's why I kind of tried to set Jess up like, oh, what are we watching? The white t-shirts. I wanted the first thing you guys heard was white t-shirts. And she said monkey. Oh, okay, well, some people don't know will get it. I didn't even know they were changing colors with the thing. I didn't even pay attention. I didn't even notice the guy in the black shirt walked out either, right? Because they set that up with the gorilla, and that mix, again, it's what you're focused on, what your attention is. And if we're not 100% focused, maybe we caught it, but we were, if we seen it before, we kind of knew what to look for. But again, I didn't recognize the curtain. So there's a lot of stuff going on in that. So that's the part that's cool about that. And that's where, again, focus and our mindset to not get distracted. And this is the easy form about the pills, right? We're always looking for the pills. Instead of changing something we do, let's go take a pill for it. They got a pill for everything. And there's a comic that I posted a long time ago where if you need to change something, here's a line, take this pill. There's this big line, and everybody's in line for the pill. But if we want to change our mindset, nobody's in line for that because we know that's hard work. We want the quick fix. That's how we're geared, to doing. That's where we're at now. We want everything now. And to give you an example, and we're all in this situation, who here has taken a plane ride in the last year? Okay, we've all been on a plane, and you're sitting there on your phone, and you don't get internet service all of a sudden, or it dies down. Oh, can't believe this is not working right now. Why is this not working? We're complaining. And then we get on the plane's delayed. I'm gonna miss my next flight. We're complaining about it. Everything's going on. Instead of recognizing, wow, here I am in this tube that's gonna fly through the sky, that's gonna get me to wherever I need to go faster than what was capable back in the day. We don't have to go on horseback, I don't have to take a boat, right? I don't have to worry about the Titanic. We don't have to worry about any of these negative things. Again, we gotta be mindful, but flying is one of the safest things that we can do. But with that being said, we still complain about things. We take things for granted. And in actuality, find the gift of time that you've just been given. Maybe you might miss your flight. But in that time that you missed your flight, that might be an opportunity that you might meet up with some pretty cool people. Jessica had this experience one night where she was coming home, already a long day, their flight was delayed, she was by herself, and then some people all of a sudden were gathering over and just somehow strike up a conversation, and here it is, in this big conversation with these people that you never met before, and then there's some curious people and interesting people that she got to meet. And that's all by that gift that was given to her because the plane was delayed. You can find a gift in anything, or you can find the anger in anything. It's up to you on how you want to look at it. No matter what, it doesn't change the circumstances, right? You can be angry that the plane's delayed. But what are you doing? You're wasting time in your own mind. Your focus is based on anger versus based on where you're going. An example yesterday, I went to the vet, brand new time, first time in the vet, got there early. I'm going in there for some routine vaccinations for my dog and cat. 50 minutes passed before I saw the veterinarian. I was there from 1 o'clock to 1:50 before the veterinarian came in. Guess what I got to practice? Patience. I practiced my patience. I worked on my breathing. I kept looking at my clock. Okay, and I'm just getting irritated because they're not respecting my gift of time, right? One lady came in, did some things. Oh, this lady's kind of rude. She didn't even ask about my dog, and I got a Rottweiler. So you got to, you know, she just kind of came in right out and, hey, take it easy. You don't know this dog. My dog doesn't know you, right? And then when I say with humans, if I was just to run into somebody's face that doesn't know me, they're like, hey, they'd back off. They get defensive, right? But here she runs up on my dog like this. So that happened, which wasn't too, I stayed calm. And then after about 20 minutes, it's about 1:30, about 1:40, knock on the door. Oh, the vet's running a little bit behind. Okay, what does that mean? My appointment was at 1 o'clock, wasn't it? A little behind, I'm 40 minutes in here now. So what's a little more behind? Because I didn't allot an hour to be here. Oh, okay, let me go check. 1:45, 1:50, vet and the lady come walking in. And again, I got irritated because they didn't knock. And what I learned in healthcare is when you're in that space, in that room, you're taking care of something, that's your room. Even though it's their business, but it's your space that you're occupying. And so they have the courtesy to say, hey, I know you're in this room, especially after I've been waiting for 50 minutes. Knock, knock, knock. That might have set the tone. But no. Okay, they didn't knock. All right, comes. Hey, sorry, I'm behind. A lot of sick dogs around here. First thing in my mind, how does that bother? What does that do for me? That doesn't help my time. But I'm breathing. Okay, don't say anything. Is it kind? Is it true? Is it necessary? This is another practice that I always practice. This is where I got started. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary before I speak? So I'm trying to think. Am I gonna get upset with these guys and say these things right now? I was like, no. Let me just go with the process. Let me go. Well, kill them. All right, thank you. Awesome. Hey, good job. Thanks. And told them we're going to Europe, so that's why I wanted to be here to see if my dog needed to get this removed before. No, it's okay. We can do it afterwards. And then as we're wrapping up, hey, where are you going in Europe? He's making small talk with me. And he's like, hey, again, sorry. You know, I got them working on your paperwork right now, so I know you got to get out. And I go, hey, thanks a lot. And I'm like, God, you know, offered me a discount. Didn't say anything about this. I'm here an hour. It's 2 o'clock now. I've been here 1 hour. I put my dog away, going to get my paperwork. Oh, can I help you? Yeah, I got to pay. She says, oh, it usually takes 5 or 10 minutes for us to process. I'm like, okay. And again, Jess, I got to pick up Jess at the airport at 4. I got to get home. All this stuff's going on in my mind. Sit down. Working on my breathing there again. Bring it in, practice what I preach, right? This is the opportunity. I'm being challenged, you guys. My point to bring is you're always going to be challenged to what you're practicing. And this is right. I could have been the victim. I could have been upset and got an attitude. I could have been an asshole. I'm very good at being an asshole. At least I was. I still got some practice in there. It's probably pretty good if I really needed to bring it out. But that's not who I wanted to be. The people that I've talked to, my identity that I'm shooting for is Mr. Rogers. I want to be Mr. Fred Rogers. Now, Fred Rogers probably would have handled a little bit better than I did because it's definitely when I didn't have my poker face on. They knew I was irritated with time. So I sit down. Okay, hey, Mr. Salquist, come on up. We get you going. I got to print your stuff out. Oh, the printer's running slow. I believe a lot of things are running slow. You know, that was my only little, that was my opportunity for my dig, right? Took a deep breath. She got me like, hey, she's like, thank you. Like, all right, thanks. Just walked out, got in my car, took another deep breath. I can sit there and bitch about it, let me in my mind, but what is it? You know what? I got things to do. Let me go home. Let me put on something that's going to help chill me. And that's what I focused on. What do I need to do right now to bring me where I want to be? And not let that squirrel in my head run rapid. So this is where your mindset and your focus comes in. This is important when you're working on your goals. Right, Cindy? Not let that squirrel in our head get to us. Not create self-doubt into our mind. Be the opposite. When you're creating self-doubt and that squirrel's running in your head, so this is another tool, you can do this in a 10-second breath, 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. As you're breathing in, stop it. Stop it. Just tell yourself, stop it. Stop thinking that way, right? How's that helping you? Go to that next move of what's going to help you. So, going into that. Now we're going to go into goals. So as we go into goals, setting ourselves up, and our goals when we talk about the win, so this is right here, win. What's important now? If you were to set a goal for yourself right now, what's important now that this goal that you set for yourself is going to help move you in the direction that you want to go? And the hard part is with this, a lot of times it's the start that stops most people. We think about this goal, we have this big goal that we put out there, like, oh my God, it's so big, like I don't know if I can do that. And what happens? We don't get started with it because it overwhelms us. Anxiety creeps, like, oh, that's too much work, I'm not ready for that now, I'm going to put it off. But instead what we need to do is like, okay, we're going to look at this, and this is where we can come in with this. I was going to talk about ACT. I'm jumping ahead of myself, so I'm going to back up here a minute. Let's start first with ABC. ABC, anchor moment, behavior, celebrate. So when we are trying to create a new goal, let's take something very small, that big goal, and make it super small. Let's say we're trying to bring in movement and getting exercise every day. Let's say I want to do 100 push-ups or 100 burpees. So my anchor moment, that's my goal. My goal is that burpees or push-ups or any type of exercise. So what I want to do is create an anchor that every time I do this one thing, I'm going to attach that push-up to it. And so let's say every time I get out of a chair, I'm going to drop down and do one push-up. Now, I can do more if I want to, but the goal is just to get started. And maybe 100 push-ups is a big lofty goal, right? Let's start with 10. I'm going to do 10 push-ups today. I can do 10 push-ups. That's 1 an hour. I can do that, no problem, right? But I want to attach it to an anchor. So every time I do something that I know I do this every hour, I'm going to do a push-up. That's the behavior. So if I want to do a push-up, the behavior I want to bring in is that push-up. Every time I have that anchor moment, the behavior I'm bringing in is the push-up. And then the C is the celebration. Celebrate. I just did. I did my one push-up. Okay, now 9 left. And the next time you do it, oh, that's 2 push-ups. Good job. Hey, we're on track here. We got 8 push-ups left. And so as you go out throughout the day, every time that you achieve doing that behavior that you attach to your anchor moment, you're going to celebrate it afterwards. Does that make sense, Cindy?
Well, I was thinking, it depends on how you define anchor. Anchor is something that holds you down?
No.
Or anchor that
No.
you hang on to, that you grab onto?
Something that, let's say, brush your teeth. Let's say, so my goal, I've not been very good at flossing. Okay, I need to floss more. My dad, every time I go, it's like a bloodbath in there, and I feel bad for him because they're in there. Right, Brenda? This is what you do. You understand what I'm talking about, right? And I feel bad. I got this bloodbath going on in my mouth, and she's just doing her job. Like, God, how's she doing this all day? Like, it's crazy. So, and she knows I don't floss because my gums are showing her that I don't floss. But did you floss today? I don't have to answer that, right? No, that's right. You know? And so my goal is to floss. So every time I brush my teeth now, I put my little flossing fork out by my toothbrush. So every time I brush my teeth, what am I looking at? There's my cue, there's my trigger, there's my prompt. My anchor is my toothbrush. The behavior I'm bringing in is my flossing. In order to make sure I'm successful, I'm also bringing the tool out that I use to floss and put it right next to my toothbrush. So now I can get the floss twice a day. And my goal is not to floss every single tooth. My goal is to simply put that thing in my mouth and do one tooth. If I do one, more than likely I'm going to probably do another one, right? I'm not going to stop at one, right? I could, but that's the goal. I got to build success around that first. And so I don't have to go, how many teeth are in your mouth?
32. Yeah.
32, if you have them all. I don't have to hit half of those because you're going in between them. Would that be right? If I'm cutting in between something like that, let's just say 32 times, not quite. Let's say 15 to 20 times. Are you getting in between those teeth? I don't know, thereabouts.
You're still gonna have 28.
28 swipes.
Yeah.
Okay, the thing about 28 swipes, I want to start with 1. If I'm going to do 1, I can probably do 2. If I'm going to do 2, I can probably do 3. Maybe 28 is really lofty for me. That's really big. My goal, my floors and ceilings. You guys have heard me talk about floors and ceilings around goals. My floor is 1 tooth. My ceiling is 28. So as long as I hit 1, woo, celebration. I flossed. And I can floss the hell out of that 1 tooth. And then when I go to the dentist, which one's not bleeding? This one. Awesome. Can you tell I've been flossing that one? I'm just working on the other ones now. Right? That's the goal. That's the goal to get started. The goal is to get the momentum and get started. And as I do that, guess what? It's going to start running on autopilot. Not many of us in here, does anybody have to really think about brushing their teeth in the morning? No, we just do it. It just runs on autopilot. We might even leave it. I gotta brush my teeth. I go back in, right? That's what these goals and habits do. Once you start building momentum, and this is what we're going to bring in next, this domino effect. Jess, that's your cue. We're going to bring in the domino effect. We're going to talk about these goals, and this is going to lead into the act, and we're going to talk about consistency. So this is the domino.
The world is a flight away. You are riding flight.
Sponsored by American Airlines. Thank you, American Airlines, for sponsoring this talk. This is what caused the earthquake not too long ago. Okay, so the goal, the idea of this is that one small tiny domino, that's the size of your fingernail, your pinky, That's what they started with. And that momentum, by knocking one goal after another, one domino after another, one domino, a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger. A domino has the power to knock over another domino half its size. And you can see from that one single little domino, as that momentum was built, it built up the power to knock that big giant one. And they talk about the size of the Eiffel Tower, going all the way up to the size of Mount Everest. That's the momentum of starting that one big goal, breaking all the way down into that one easy thing that we can do and how we can show up day after day. Because that's where the momentum is going to be built. We have to create consistency around that. And around our goals, this is where fail comes in. You guys have heard me use this before, fail. We don't ever set out to fail in anything. None of us say, I'm going to go set a goal and my goal is to fail. No, I don't think anybody's ever done that. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you're trying to win a bad bet or something, right? But that's not what we do. We always look to succeed. And then a lot of times when we get in our head, is that's a big goal, I can't do it, we don't get started. And that's where the start stops most people. Because we don't want to fail. But fail, if we look at it, is faithful attempts in learning. When you go after a goal and it doesn't work that first time, awesome. You just learned how not to do something. You can look at it in that way. That's part of the process. Part of the process is learning how not to do something. You can't just think, I'm going to set this goal and I'm going to hit it out of the park. A baseball player, they've got years of practice swinging a bat. But yet, does anybody go above 500 in their batting average? I don't think so. I don't know if anybody's gone over. Do you know, Ken, if you know anything about baseball, has anybody got over 500 batting average? Right? That's unheard of. To get into the, Robert, do you know, right? To get in the Hall of Fame, if you're above 300, you get in the Hall of Fame. So that's 3 pitches out of 10 that you need to hit to get into the Hall of Fame. That's a good batter. Is that correct? Yeah. 3 out of 10 to get into the Hall of Fame. That means they struck out 7 times. That means they failed 7 times. But they didn't fail. They didn't go up to say, I'm going to strike out now. I've hit 3. Now I got to miss 7 now. Right? I can't mess up the dynamics of the game. Every goal time they step up is to hit a home run. But we're not doing that. And again, Babe Ruth even said it. Yesterday's home run doesn't win today's game. That's the power of consistency. To show up day after day after day. This is why I say every day is day one, you guys. Every day is day one where you get to show up day after day after day and put your principles to the test. Put your practice to the test. As I was tested yesterday at a vet, I got to practice my patience. And believe me, it was running rampant in my head. But I was like, thankful, I got a couch I can sit on. I mean, woo-saw, right? Woo-saw. I was bringing in that breathing, the bad boys, right? So as we go into that, thinking about, again, making that big habit, making it small, making it simple, making it easy. And then what we want to do is get into this area of act. And this is how we set up goals. This is just another tool. These are just tools. ABC is a tool. Fail, just that when we use that word, faithful attempts in learning, that we didn't fail, that we just learned how to do something. We're going to take what we're doing right and keep doing what we're doing right. And those things that didn't work, we're going to fix, and we're going to fix that and move forward. Just like the Wright brothers did with the airplane, just like WD-40, the water displacement company, WD-40. Everybody knows WD-40 in here, yeah? Yeah. WD-40 came up with their name because it was the 40th attempt that finally worked. That means they missed 39 times trying to create WD-40, this water displacement fluid. That 39 times they failed. Do you want to say that? But every time they failed, they learned what was not working. And then finally on the 40th attempt, booyah, they nailed it. And now it's worldwide, right? So when we go to act, what this is, act is acceptance, create, and then take action. I'm going to use 2 people here, an example that I didn't talk to beforehand because I was going to and I forgot. But it's okay. You guys will answer this easily. Acceptance. A. We want to look at where we are right now. This is where we're going to look at our current state. Look where we are. Take a deep dive down. Look, this is not a 2-minute drill. This is like a 5, 10, 15-minute drill. You might just sit home and think, where am I right now? What am I doing awesome? I'm showing up to the gym. You know, my eating habits are getting better. Certain things are going really awesome. Okay, awesome. What other things are? Okay, now what's not going so? Where's my opportunities? Man, if I can get this going in the right direction, I'm going to move in this other area. That future version of me is going to be thankful. And so we can start dialing in. That's acceptance, accepting where we are. And after we accept once we are, then we're going to create. We want to create what we want our future to look like. We want to create what our future state or whatever goal we're going to put out there for us. What does that look like when we get there? And then what we're going to do after that, and then we're going to take action. We're going to take action in making that happen. And this is where we act backwards. This is a term that's used. A lot of mental performance coaches use this, acting backwards, because we're going to take what we want and take those actions, because we're going to create our future. And then what we're going to do is we're going to backtrack on how to make that super small, make it tiny. What's that one thing I can do right now? So the example I'm going to use in these two individuals, one, I'll start with Tetra. What did you just accomplish?
Climb 29, 29.
What is 2929?
Climbing 29,029 feet.
Okay. Elevation, you guys. Climbing 29,000 feet, 29,000 feet and 29. How do you say that? 29, whatever. Okay? Mount Everest. All right? You, in a way, in a sense, went through ACT. You made this, you saw this thing, this big, hairy, audacious goal, and thought, climb Mount Everest. Like, tell me, is there a short process that you can share with your mind when you saw that? What was that? You saw it in what?
I think you automatically have that. I could never do that. And
Right.
Then you,
Self-doubt
then
comes in.
Yeah, now I get fired up.
Yeah.
You know, doubt sort of fires me up.
But that was cool, because you read it like, oh, I couldn't do that. Then you said, wait a minute, that's not who I am.
Yeah.
You took a moment, like, why can't I do that? You went through this process of checking in. You went through this area of acceptance right now. And then you made that decision, like, oh, I got this shit, I can do this. And then you started being creative. You started creating your future. And it's okay. What do I need to do if I'm gonna do this? And what did you do first? You committed. You signed up. You put that event on the calendar. That's commitment. That's what I did here, September 3rd. So I'm gonna talk, I'm gonna do this thing, I got it. My goal is to be a dynamic speaker, and the way that I become a dynamic speaker is what? Practice. I can't just wish it, I gotta do it. I gotta act it, I gotta get out there. This is practice, I'm getting my reps in. So, once you created, you took action, you took that 29,000 feet, and you started with step one, right? Not only that, but she had to show up when nobody else was looking. That's the other huge thing. That's where I'm not there at times. She showed up in here at the gym when nobody's here, came in on Sundays, got on the thing, right? Jeff was in here, they're working, Jeff and myself were working on there doing their DECA, going to the Spartan, doing a DECA, coming in when nobody's watching and setting up their routine to be successful. Cindy, where'd you just come back from?
The marathon.
Where did you do a marathon?
Berlin.
In Berlin. Why? Right? Doing it.
Major marathon.
Okay, and what level of age are you?
69.
69, you guys. Level 69. Not just going
to run.
She hates to run, right? Not only does she say, I'm gonna go do a marathon. This is not her first, she's an Ironman. This lady's an Ironman. Not only she did at level 69, decide to go do a marathon, but travel overseas, take a little bit of a vacation, and then go run a marathon at level 69 and make sure that she met the deadline to meet the cutoff. And what do you have to do? You have to do the work. Action. She took action and she worked backwards. She got a coach, so did Tetra, working with Kurt. They put things together, they put together a plan, they worked on their mindset, because the mindset came into play because you got an injury. And during that injury, this is where we fail. This is where I get excited. This is the part where you get tested. This is my veterinarian experience yesterday. When you set a goal, life is going to throw you a curveball and say, nope, let's see how bad you want this. I'm going to throw an injury at you. Or I'm going to mess with your mindset. I'm going to put self-doubt in you. You're going to go have a bad run. And that bad run is like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. And the self-doubt comes in. But no, you got to stick to your process. Stick to your principles. I got this. I can't control the outcome. I can only control my process. And if I follow my process, more than likely I'm going to be successful. And I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to work on my mindset. I'm not going to let doubt creep in. That's not who I am. That's creating the identity. And this is where we don't lead with our feelings. Identity, behavior, feelings. Feelings, if we lead with feelings, feelings are going to create our behavior. That behavior is going to create our identity. We want to lead with identity. And that's what I did yesterday. I was irritated. I didn't want to be Stone Cold Steve Austin in there. I wanted to be Mr. Rogers. And so I had to create the identity of Mr. Rogers. Who's Mr. Rogers? What behaviors does he identify with? With me? Love and kindness. And then from there, that's going to create my feelings that I'm going to accept these individuals with love and kindness. And this guy must be having a long day. There's a reason why he did come in here in 50 minutes. They must be busy. It's not because they're doing it intentionally. It's not personal. They didn't see my name. Oh, this guy's an asshole. I'm going to be 50 minutes late. Right? They didn't do it intentionally. And that's what happens. We go there. When somebody does something to us, and that's what we think, they're doing it to us, when we don't even know them, they don't know us, but we want to take it personally. And then that's when our mind starts running rampant. So, just think about that as we go into that, taking that action, as we go into our win, and we want to show with consistency. And that's where we're running right into with this consistency. That's what the domino effect is, that small little goal as we build into the next, and we build into the next, building that momentum. And this is where I'm at right now. This is why I feel comfortable, to some degree, coming up here and giving this talk. Life is fucking good right now, you guys. And that's why I'm using that F word for an exclamation. Things are awesome this week. And I'm getting ready to launch a program in the new year. Again, Corporate's Heroic Journey, based off of everything that I'm learning and sharing with you guys. I'm excited for this journey. It's going to be a book. There's going to be an app that we're going to use. We're going to have accountability groups that we're going to be meeting with. And this isn't an 8-week course. It's not a 12-week course. This is a course that's going to be for life, for as long as you want to stay with it. Because it's all about getting better. You don't get better in 8 days. You don't get better in 8 weeks. You don't get better in 12 weeks. But we can get 1% better every day. And that's what this shirt just got me, this shirt. 1% better. 1% of your day, you guys, is 14 minutes and 24 seconds. That's what I'm going to ask you guys to commit. When you leave here today, I want you to think about what's one thing, if I start committing 14 minutes and 24 seconds of my life to, that I can take action, that future version of me is going to be thankful for, that I did this. You doing the climbing the mountain, you got to the top, you went through trials and tribulations, you had to fight for 13 trips up this damn mountain that she had to climb to meet the 29,000 feet of elevation. That's 13. Then she had a trip coming down. She didn't have to climb down, thank goodness. She got to take a gondola ride, which probably is a little bit harder than the climb. Because self-doubt can sit in when you just got to the top, like, shit, I got 2 more of these things, I barely made this one. And now you're cruising down, like, oh my God, am I gonna make it? Did any of that come in? Or how did you use that trip down? What did you do with your trip down?
Gratitude, actually.
Awesome.
That's how
You flipped the switch.
Yeah.
Great gratitude. Gratitude is the way to acceptance and wins. Appreciate where you're at, right? Don't take things for granted, take things as granted. Awesome job on doing that. That's awesome. Okay? 1% of your day, 14 minutes and 24 seconds. And you don't have to focus on one item in that 14 and 24 seconds. You can break that up any way you want. My morning routine is broken up into 14 and 24 seconds. I read the Daily Stoic. That can take me 1 minute to a minute and a half. I do body flow. I start doing some stretching. I do a meditation. Could be 3 minutes, could be 6 minutes. Anywhere right there, I'm focusing on me. I get up an hour early. Thursdays, I'm here at 5 a.m. I'm here at 4:45 to open the doors. Everybody knows that takes my class at 5 a.m. My class starts at 5 a.m. Not 5:01, not 5:02, 5 a.m. We're getting started. We're getting the day started right, on time. And the way I do that is I give myself 15 minutes to get to work, because if you're on time, you're late. That's something to take note. If you're on time, you're late. So you get to work because you don't know if I'm going to hit traffic. I don't know if I'm going to hit train. I ran into a murder one morning that the streets were shut down over in the GU district. Somebody got murdered and they shut down the streets. That caused a delay. That's not in my plan. I'm not thinking I'm going to run into that. We don't know what's coming our way, just like your day. And that's what this is all about, you guys. This is what we're going to lead to here in a second when we get past this last thing of consistency. You're going to see this equation is what we're here for today and how we're going to lead this, how you're going to lead today. And so as we go through this, setting that up, those thoughts, those actions, your emotions, that's what we have control over. That's the only thing in your life that you have control over. You have control of your thoughts, you have control of your emotions, and you have control of your actions. And those actions, when you are running rampant and your emotions are saying that I'm this or I'm that at that, I don't have this ability in myself, you got to stop. That's where you take that breath. Stop. Take action. What's one thing that I can do right now to move myself in the direction I want to go? When I was irritated at the vet, I was getting irritated, I recognized I got triggered. What's one thing I can do right now? Breathe, baby, breathe. This is where you get to practice right now. Thank you for this challenge that you're putting in front of me. And you gave me 50 minutes. You know, I wasn't expecting a 50-minute challenge. But afterwards, I got in the car, and after I calmed down, thank you for this challenge, because you're making me put my practice to preach, and I get to show up today and do this talk, which is awesome. And so, when you think things aren't attainable, the 4-minute mile, Roger Bannister, the 4-minute mile in 1954 was not even thought of ever being broken. Roger Bannister in 1954 broke that 4-minute mile. And how did he do it? He broke it up into quarter-mile runs. He knew if he could run a quarter mile in a minute, that was his goal, to every quarter mile, to run a minute, that he could break the 4-minute mile pace. And once he did it, it had never been done before, but once he did it, in the next 2 years, 50 people broke the 4-minute pace. Okay? Once you see somebody can do it, all of a sudden people's like, oh shit, maybe I can do it. He did it, maybe I can do it. And that's where this gym comes into play, you guys. This is where CoreFit comes into play. This is a community. When you're surrounded about like-minded individuals that are climbing mountains, that are going to marathons, going across the country, working on things, going to Arizona, going to different places to do decas, doing whatever it is that these individuals have done in here. When you set your mind to something, you surround yourself with a community that's going to support you, not comparison. We're never playing the comparison game. Why? Because you're always going to lose. When you compare, you're not comparing the good qualities about yourself. You're comparing the qualities that they're doing better than you, and you're beating yourself up. And we start thinking, why them? When we're not focused on ourselves, you got to focus on you, because you're the only you that is you. When somebody else, if you focus on somebody else, you're going to be the second best of them, because they're busy being themselves. So focus on you, you guys. That's where you get to share that consistency. And when we talk about consistency, it's not discipline. This is one thing I want to start switching this word, and it's still used in the coaching program that I'm at on Heroic. They talk about discipline, but I like devotion. Don't be disciplined with your actions. Be devoted to your actions. Devotion means love to me. When you're devoted to yourself, that means there's love that's there. All right? That devotion that you can give to yourself to show up day after day after day, to put your principles and your actions together, and by doing that, it's going to equal this equation. This equation of energy. We talked about the fundamentals. This equation times focus. We talked about our mindset. This equation of what's important now, our goals. When we take energy times focus times what's important now, times the power of consistency, you guys. Do it in your Texas calculator. If we're at energy, we're firing on all cylinders, we're at 100. Energy towards the 100 power. Focus towards the 100 power. Win. What's important now towards the 100 power. Times the consistency of 100 being showing up day after day. The answer is infinity. It's infinity. That means you have multiple pathways to get there. And it doesn't happen by choice. And that's the superpower. Showing up with consistency to whatever that goal is. That consistency is how we get to soul force, you guys. This is the equation. Soul force. This is what soul force is, you guys. Energy times focus times what's important now to the power of consistency. And it makes me I'm getting emotional right now. This is where I dig this shit, you guys. This is practice of putting this to the test. Who do I want to be? I want to be 1% better every day. We went to our organization in December. They asked you to select a word. My word was right here, better. Where's it? Better. To be better. That's what I want to be. Better every single day. That's my goal. How can I be better? Because before, I was okay being an asshole. I was okay with that. On my tombstone, I told people, my tombstone, Darren was a nice guy, but he was an asshole too. And I took that with pride, being an asshole. Because I meant being an asshole, I thought, because you don't like what I'm telling you, so you're getting offended. That's not my problem, that's your problem. If you don't like what I'm saying, then tell me what you want to hear and I'll tell you that. I felt like the way I said things was, hey, this is how you're going to take it. You don't like it, too bad. Don't ask me. But it's not the message that's the way I said it, right? It's how you deliver it. So now I really practice my delivery, Mr. Rogers. I can say the same thing. Again, I don't have to do it Steve Cole Austin style. I can do it Mr. Rogers style. So that's where I get to take the pause between the stimulus and the response, whatever's going to be put in front of me, not react to that situation. Again, not react to the vets being late, but I get to respond to that action. I get to respond to that stimulus and not react to it, okay? So that's what I want to leave you guys with. Soul force, energy, your fundamentals, eating, moving, sleeping, your mindset with your breathing and your meditation. Think about prospering, again, moving forward, knowing that your future is going to be brighter than today by what your goals are. Putting your mindset to the test, staying focused on what your goals are. And the way you stay focused is having a goal that's important to you. Finding the value in it. My first goal to get me started was sleep. I played poker 7 nights a week. I'd get home at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and that was a good night because that means I was winning if I got home that late. But I'd get up at 6 in the morning, go to the gym, go to work, and wonder why I didn't have a good day today. I got 3 hours of sleep, and I think I'm gonna go rock my day. I think I'm gonna handle situations that came across my desk in management. I'm gonna handle it with an A+. No, I didn't, okay? I did not handle it very well. I got distracted also by TV. I find myself valuing entertainment versus valuing sleep. It took us 2.5 years to cut off dish cable. But we did it. We don't have dish now. Now we got a little bit. We have Amazon, we have Netflix. But we limit ourselves to about 90 minutes at the most. Typically we watch one episode. We have a curfew. Typically we're in bed around 8 p.m. Once in a while we slip maybe to 8:30, but we'll watch something. Our alarm clocks go off at 7. Okay, time to start shutting down. You know, the goal is to hit it out of the park. Are we gonna hit a home run every single time? No, we're not perfect, and I'm not up here preaching that I got it all figured out. Again, my struggle yesterday, we're all gonna be put to the test, and that's what it's all about. We're never gonna be exonerated from being tested, all right? You're never gonna get to this level and say, oh, I made it, and now I don't have to do any more work. That's not how life works. Every day is the new best opportunity for you to be that best version of you. And it might not be as good as yesterday's version, but that's okay. What went wrong? My protocols. This week, I've had an awesome week. Why? I had to stop back and look at my journaling. I'm journaling in the morning. I'm journaling at night. I'm doing an after actions report is what it's called. And the evening with my journaling. Hey, what was awesome today? If I had an awesome day, why did I have an awesome day? I want to make sure I repeat that tomorrow. I woke up. I did my fundamentals. I did my breathing. I did my sleeping. I did my meditation. I had proper nutrition. I went through my protocols, my 15 minutes, my 1% is where I'm focused on my 1%. Setting proper goals, that goal right now is just to be better, and what does that look like? Showing up every day, following my protocols, being consistent, and that consistency versus the discipline, I'm shifting that word to devotion, to being devoted to myself, to being that best version of myself. And that's just I want to make sure I'm on my deathbed. When that time comes, if I'm granted to be able to die peacefully, then I know when I close my eyes for the last time that, fuck, I lived an awesome life. I did an awesome thing. There's no regrets. Instead of thinking, why was I an asshole? Why would I want somebody at my eulogy to think, Darren's not, fuck, that guy was an asshole. Right? And I had a friend, I had a dear friend. Some of you guys know, we did a Spartan race together. I helped train him for the Spartan. We did it together. And one day in my office, he came in, he's ripped into me because of how much of an asshole I was being to him. And I thought I was doing a good thing. It was tough love. I thought it was tough love. But man, he just ripped into me and told me all these things. I'm like, fuck, I just sat back. Is there more, bro? You got more? You know, I had to sit back and relax. Like, man, this guy's really let me have it. Awesome. And then I didn't get pissed. I could have went off on him and been offended. But I was like, man, I must have really, geez, I must have really been terrible. And then he left, and I was like, okay, cool. I guess what am I going to do with this now? What am I going to do with this information? And I can say it's not true, but it has to be true because that's the identity that I showed up as. That's my identity at how this guy would describe me, is everything he just said about me right there in front of my face, which was awesome. He said it to my face. And the reason that's where our identity is. If I asked 3 people in here, hey, what's my identity right now? And we took a separate poll, I don't think asshole will come up right now. I don't think that would be the first thing that would come up, right? I'm hoping other things, and I'm hoping in my journey that I've been in your guys' life, you've seen change in my life as I'm on this journey myself. These are 2 amazing individuals. But yeah, taking that breath, that's raised this amazing individual that's entered my life to make myself better. And I've been through my relationships, and it was always about me. It was very self-centered. And Jess put up with a lot of shit with me, 10 years, that she put through her trials and tribulations. And she saw something in me, luckily, that she was able to hold on to. Not with one hand, but both. There might have been at times she slipped down to one hand. But she's able to have the strength to grab up and reach up with the other hand and stay secure with me.
I saw your soul force.
Yeah, she saw my soul force. And that's the thing what I'm sharing with you guys right now, is this journey that I'm on, that if you guys so choose to be this is what I do as a self-mastery mental performance coach, working on these things. I don't sit up here and proclaim to be perfect. I have my faults, and this is what I get to do every single day, to strive to be better. 1% better every day, and that builds up, right? That's that domino effect. I started with that little fingernail of a domino, and now my dominoes are getting bigger and bigger because I'm knocking over the next one. I'm knocking over the next one. And each one has a goal. Each one has a label. And every day I wake up, it's day 1. Every day, you guys, is day 1. Yesterday's home run does not win today's game. My goal every day is to make contact. Step up to that plate and make contact with the ball. If I can make contact, I'm winning. If I strike out, awesome too. I get to learn. That's where we learn. I don't focus on the strikeouts though. I focus on the contact. I focus on what's right here in front of me. I focus on what can I do next. I'm not overlooking a team like sports teams, right? You have a dominant team that's kicking ass and they got this other team that's not ranked. Oh, we're gonna get past this team. I'm not even looking at that team. They look past them. Guess what? They lose. They lose because they don't take this team serious, because they think they have nothing to lose when this team has everything to gain by beating that #1 team. And that's where we stay focused in our life. Never overlook any obstacle, any challenge in front of you, the smallest little mile thing. Even if you're running 3 miles, and not only, if you're gonna go run 3 miles a day, but yet the goal's 20 and you're running 20, don't underlook that 3 miles. That's work. You could cramp, you could trip, something can happen in that 3 miles, right? We can lose focus for a minute and we get ourselves tripped up. And that's a good analogy yesterday. She got distracted, Tango's right there, and guess what? We tripped because we lost focus for a moment. But what do we do when we trip? We get up, we do it again, we go back after. We fall 7, we rise 8. We don't let those falls, those fails bring us down. Everybody in here is stronger than that. Everybody in here is capable of doing something unimaginable. Never in your life did you think that you were gonna climb Mount Everest, right? When you walked into this gym when we first worked together, I said, you know what? I think in 3 years you're gonna do this thing called 29-29. What are you talking about, Willis? Right? That's not gonna happen. If we talked about a few years ago, you're gonna go to Munich and you're gonna go run a marathon. Like what? At level 69. Right? And again, levels. You guys aren't getting older. Stop. You're not getting older. You're leveling up. If you say you're getting older and you don't appreciate the level of life that you're at right now, you're losing. Okay? You gotta appreciate this level of life that you're at and recognize you're experiencing a level of life that other people have never had that opportunity to experience. Be thankful. And what are you doing with it? Time is unknown. Time, we don't even know. So, use your time wisely. Share and love people. Share kindness. Make people smile. Acknowledge people. And if you do this, it'll be easy to obtain being that best version of you. All right, guys. That's it. Any questions?
You're already I just want to say how powerful the mind is. I mean, it always seems, in my experience, it always seems to want to pull me down. It always seems to say, you can't do this, or you're not working hard enough, or you need to go longer, you need to go farther. It's always hard for me to wrap my head around moving forward. And it's just, I just can't get over the mindset, because your mind is like a little elf saying, you can't do this. It wants to chip away. It wants to chip away at what you think you can't do. So, I mean,
It's easier to quit.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to keep thinking positive affirmations and positive things and keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Because the mind, I think, doesn't want you to move forward sometimes.
Limits.
You have to change, you have to flip that, you have to change it.
Yeah, and this is again, if you can't visualize yourself doing it, you just set yourself a limit. Okay? You guys set your own limits. And if you can't visualize climbing a mountain, you're not going to do it. If you can't visualize completing a marathon, you're not going to do it. And Kurt put together a little montage for you.
Right, you put together an imagery podcast. It was just short, 5 minutes, but it was just positive affirmations based that I came up with, but he turned it around into something else. And it just had to mentally keep telling myself, you can do this, you are strong, you are capable, you are, so it's just when you think you can, you can.
Right.
You can.
That's what Henry Ford said. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably right. Okay? Right? And why people don't do very well with work? Wait, how's that go? With overalls, work. I don't know that class. I don't remember what I said. Anybody know about the overalls dressed up? Because work's dressed up with overalls on it or something. Because it's work. That's what it is. Work is hard, right? And in our mind, like, I don't know if I can do that much work. And again, we set ourselves limits. That's where your vision stops. You got to have the vision. You got to know you can do it. And this is where vision boards come into play. If you want to use a vision board and put what you want to obtain and what steps, build it in a sense of where you need to be step by step by step, and your vision board. And so that you know I'm here. Oh, 2 weeks later, look at it, I'm here. Oh, here's my next step. This is your domino effect. Use your vision board as a domino effect on how that you're getting yourself there. You know, when I ran 50 miles, the longest distance I had ran at that time was 16. I made the goal when I turned 50 to run 50 miles. And how do we do it? 1 mile at a time. Setting ourselves up. Now, I don't do things the smartest at times. We got to 30 miles. We did our ultra run. We ran 2 ultras. We did it one year when COVID hit. We went and ran 30 miles. And at that time, when we ran 30 miles, the furthest distance I ran was 16. And I said, and I cramped. But I said, you know what? Let's just go for this. She said, you didn't run, you did 16, you cramped. I go, I know, but let's just go run 16. If I cramp, then we'll stop. But if I feel good, let's continue. We'll complete it. I felt great at 16. Mile 20, mile 24, cramping. Awesome. Struggled, but we finished. When we ran 50 miles, we ran from here to Long Lake and back. I started out running, my calves started giving me troubles. Oh, it's gonna be a long run. Awesome. So, go out there. We had some great teammates out there show up for us, motivate us, encourage us. All I took it was 10 miles at a time. I didn't look at 50, I looked at 10. Once I got 10, went to the next 10. And this is when you focus on something. Don't look at the goal. Look at the steps that's gonna take you to get there. Don't look past the steps to get to your goal. Look at what's in front of you, where you at right now, and don't skip any steps. All right? It's like a golf game. Don't look at, oh, hey, 18. Pay attention to this hole that you're on. Let's say you got a double bogey. Don't go into the next hole like, oh, I got a double bogey. I got to make these. No, that hole's done. This is a new hole. Focus on this shot. Visualize. What do I need to do? I need to drive that ball straight and to the right. Okay. Do that. Visualize it, act it, and then re-visualize it. You got to see yourself doing it. If you can see yourself doing it, again, your mind doesn't know that you're discomfort. That's what your vision is. Your brain's saying, oh, we're doing these things. Here's the direction that we're going. We're doing this. And again, it's the opposite. Because we think that we can do it. That's where we're at. That's what your brain's saying, oh, we can't do it. Why are we even doing this? And that's what we're saying. Pathways. If you start something and you stop, that's that pathway that you built, and that pathway's incomplete. So the next time you go to try something else, I didn't finish it. Here I am again, struggling. We gotta be comfortable being uncomfortable. Be comfortable being uncomfortable. Embrace the suck. Enjoy it. Build these pathways. And knowing no matter where you are in your habits, whatever you're attempting to do and you stop, the next time that you start it up, because we can restart, you're going to be that much further ahead. Don't discredit the work that you did. This is where I tell people, when they run 3 miles, oh, I only ran 3 miles, I just ran 3 miles. Tell me again to say, without using only or just, I ran 3 miles. Isn't it more empowering? I ran 3 miles. I ran 1 mile. I only ran 1 mile. Don't say only. I ran 1 mile. Awesome. Celebrate it. You did it. That took work. That took effort. When you get in here and do, oh, I didn't do that good. Stop. Stop telling yourself that you didn't do well. You showed up. You did the best that you could do today. If you get done thinking, you know what, I did that, I could do better. Awesome. Then say that. I'm going to do better tomorrow. Put it in your mindset. I showed up today. I did what I could. This is the best effort today. All right, awesome. Tomorrow I'm going to do better. And when we do this every minute on the minute on the skier, focus on that 1 minute. Only focus on that one event. We have 10 of these. Awesome. Focus on the one. We're doing this sled push right now. Not fun. Focus on the one. We got 10 minutes. I don't know how many I'm going to get. I'm going to focus on this one right now. Okay? All right, guys. I know. Any more? Is that it? Awesome. Great. And takeaways. Did I meet my objectives? The fundamentals? You guys understand fundamentals? Yeah. Understand the mindset and the focus? Yeah. Understand the win, the tools, and the consistency equals devotion, which gives us soul force. All right, guys. Thanks.